and is to you. Thank you so much for running, for serving, and for getting ready for what's going to be the most exciting session of your lives. Now, if I'd asked you this when we left here, those of you who were here, if I'd asked you this question, you had to fill it out, you know, a yes or no. You got 2 votes. If I'd asked you these 2 questions, what's more likely? That Peter Shumlin will be our next governor, yes or no? Or that Michael Bohosky will finally reach the age of maturity and bring us Jack and Nora? Well, what are you voting? What are you voting? I would have won. I would have won. Congratulations. Slow, but we can figure it out if you give us I can't tell you how moving it is to be here and to tell you that I cannot dream of a better leadership team than Shap Smith. Let's give a hand to Shap. Lucy, I love Lucy. I don't want to go signs. Lucy's an extraordinary leader. It's time we had a woman, and it's time we had a woman like Lucy. Thank you, Lucy. And to Willem Jewett for being willing to be the backup and make it all happen. Thank you so much. I can't honor the leadership here without saying a word about our outgoing leader, Floyd Neese. And all I can say is our loss is the most vulnerable Vermonters gain. We're going to miss him dearly. Is he here? Yeah. Where is he? Let's give it up. When I was running for governor, I kept saying to Floyd, you know, there's a little small chance that I might win this race, and if I do, I want you to be my hit man. And he took the other job. I don't understand. I want to say a word to the newly elected. This is an extraordinary privilege, it's an extraordinary opportunity. Thank you for running. We welcome you on board. And we have a lot of great things to do together. So thank you so much for coming up to the plate. You ran in the toughest year for Democrats in many, many years, perhaps ever. We're proud of the work you did, and now the tough stuff starts. Let's just talk a little bit about the session and our opportunities together. You know, the first is, as you know, we just sort of defied the rest of the nation. And we should be proud of the work that you all did. And Vermonters were extraordinarily good to us for giving us opportunity to work together with a House and a Senate and a governor that share a similar vision, a similar dream, and understand that our primary responsibility is to put Vermonters back to work, to give the middle class hope, to return Vermont to a place that's economically prosperous. We're going to do it one job at a time, but let's make sure that we commit ourselves as legislators to caring less about party and more about the job that we were sent here to do. And it is one job at a time, lift the boat, give people hope, put Vermonters back to work, get this economy working for Vermonters again. We will do that together with every decision that we make. The lens must be, what does this do to meet our promise of creating jobs and giving hope to Vermonters? What are we going to do? The first thing we have to do, unfortunately, is get our economic house in order. It's going to take some really tough decisions. I've been looking at the budget from a different lens, perhaps, than we did before, but I'm convinced that if we don't put Vermont on a sustainable spending path and make the tough decisions this year, we know we'll be back here next year making tougher decisions. We also know that the most vulnerable Vermonters, those that need us the most, will not have our help if we keep nibbling around the edges, we keep missing our projections, We keep taking in less money than we're spending. We got to put Vermont back on a responsible fiscal spending course. We will together. It's going to take courage. It's going to take tough decisions. It's going to take some really hard work. But that's our first responsibility, and we'll do it together. That's not going to be the fun part. The fun part we want to talk about too. I do not believe that the rest of the country is going to take the approach to job creation that we are. And if we deliver on the promise that many of us made over the last months, we have an opportunity to beat the rest of the country to the economic prosperity that I think lies ahead for us. There is no doubt, and I just came back from Washington where many of our colleagues that were just elected see the world differently. There is no doubt that as we get off of oil, as we move to other technologies, there's huge economic opportunities. There's also no doubt that we must and we will. So how do we create the jobs? How do we end these 2 years in better shape than the way we went in? Here's the consensus. The beauty of our situation as legislators going into this term is there is more unanimity on what the challenge is than any time that I can remember in Vermont history. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, a progressive, a Democrat, an independent. Everyone in Vermont sent us here to do one thing, and it is to give the middle class and Vermont's most vulnerable an opportunity to succeed economically. That's why we're here. We get that. It is to say to the middle class who's feeling tremendous fear. They're fearful that they're not going to be able to send their kids to college. You heard this on every door you knocked on. They're fearful that they're not going to be able to pay their mortgage. They're not going to be able to pay their property taxes. That their retirement, their 401ks, that they thought were all set just 6 years ago, now are in shambles. They're tremendously fearful. So where is the opportunity? I believe that we have a really bright future in agriculture,